Greetings fellow ukuleleans, Jeff Weinberger coming at you here with a new tutorial. I'd like to talk about a Bob Dylan song today called Don't Think Twice, It's Alright. Beautiful old folk tune that he did in the 60s. It's a song you can play in a lot of different ways. It can be strummed, it can be picked, it can be done in the key of C, it can be done in the key of F, the key of G, all kinds of different tempos. I've heard many versions of this out there, but let me show you my arrangement, the way that I like to play it. And there you noticed I was finger picking. I was using mostly a Travis pick, so I'd like to show you that first before I get into the chords. I'll show you what I'm doing with my right hand. So this will be sort of a finger style lesson, but don't worry, if you're here to learn the song, we'll be getting into that in just a minute or two. So you got a C chord, obviously. We're doing this in the key of C. What I like to do is pick that C string open with my thumb first. So I almost consider that a bass note like you would on the guitar. And bass notes and Travis picking on the guitar are played with the thumb. And then everything else is going to be fingers. So you play that, and then you do a pinch. You pick two notes together at the same time. G string with your thumb, A string with your middle. That's easy enough, right? No problem there. Now we're going to do a series of eighth notes. We're going to go what's going on there. So we did our open C string, we did our pinch of the G and A strings. Now we're going to pick that C string again with our thumb, and then the E string. First time you hit the E string in this pattern with your index. Like that. That's part of it. Let's add a little more. There I'm going back to the G string with my thumb. The G string alone, by the way, not pinched. The only pinch you do is on beat 1, then everything else is a single note, one at a time. And we have one last thing to do. There's a lot of choices here, but I like to actually go to the A string and pick that with my middle. But you could have picked the E string too. So that gives you what's known as a Travis picking pattern. Merle Travis, 1950s country guitar player, invented that style. Chet Atkins took it and went further with it. Tommy Emmanuel. Today, lots of people get into this Travis picking thing. It's a great style. Kind of derived from banjo playing. If you trace it back, it is an awful lot like a banjo roll. And then you can vary it. You can mix that up in any number of different ways. So when the chords are 1 measure a piece, 2 measures a piece, that's when you would use this pattern. When the chords are only 2 beats a piece, like they are in, say, the third line of the song, that's going to be a different situation. And actually later in the chorus, you're the reason I'm traveling on, don't think twice, it's alright. The chords go for only 2 beats a piece, so you have to modify your pattern for that. Let's see, what do I do for that? Okay, I'm doing 2 different patterns there. I start on the first chord, in this case a C chord, with, but then it goes to G, and I mix it up. I go something I call the every other pattern. This is very common in my finger style. I do a Travis pick for the first 2 beats and an every other picking pattern for the second 2 beats. So first 2 beats, Travis, just like I laid out at the beginning. And now the every other, let me show you that. We're on a G chord, by the way, and we're doing G string with our thumb, E string with our index, C string with our thumb, and A string with our middle. That's every other string. G string, E string, C string, A string. Another banjo roll sort of deal. So putting those together, that's a very common thing that I do. I'm not sure about others, but when I play a folk song and it needs Travis picking, I'll oftentimes mix it up like that, especially when the chords are a couple beats a piece. So You can do one continuous pattern through the whole song if you want, but sometimes it's nice to mix it up. It's nice to vary it. So I oftentimes will alternate between two different patterns. All right, so enough about the finger picking, and I will tab this out, make this available on Patreon. If you want to download it, it'll be there. And I will show you now just the chords. Let's get into what the chord progression is. It starts on a C chord. Ain't no use to, and then G. Sit and wonder why, babe. That's an A minor. If you don't know by now. That was an F to C, and then after the word now, we do a G. This is the same as Peter, Paul, and Mary do it too, by the way. A lot of covers of this use pretty much the same chords, just slightly different styles and maybe different vocal harmonies and arrangements and that sort of thing. But the chord progression usually stays roughly the same. Ain't no use to sit and wonder why.